Thanks for staying tuned to Talking Business. I have Dr. Saze Iua, who's an economist, in the studio today. Good afternoon.
Thanks for having me. Good
It's always a pleasure.
Compliments
of the season.
Thank
I
you.
beat you to
Same
that.
here. Yeah, exactly. You beat me to it.
Maybe because I'm more excited about Christmas.
Yeah, same to you. And compliments to all Nigerians and everybody watching nowadays.
All right. Well, Christmas is here again, and we still have one more week before we get to Christmas. But before that time, let's look at how the Naira is faring and other economic issues that affects Nigeria. So the Standard Organization of Nigeria has raised a concern about how the depreciation of the Naira could lead to threat of substandard goods, being imported. So we'll be looking first at the depreciation of the Naira and the threats of substandard goods being imported into the country. Do you think that's a genuine worry?
Yeah, the depreciation of the Naira, we know, has it has been almost like the major albatross of this government since 2015 when they came. We've talked about the fact that Naira was as high as 197 parallel markets by 2015 when this government came into power, and now it's in the region of 700, and so many factors have been responsible. We know chief of them is the fact that we have not been exporting enough. Our exports we've not improved in terms of exports. Our major export commodity, crude oil, has continuously brought less than we expect because of oil theft, because of subsidy. Then the agricultural commodities, which we were doing well in, we remember the huge gains that were made in the last administration when that minister was in power, Minister of Agriculture, who is now the president of ADB. We know the huge gains that were made. We started doing very well in agriculture, but in the last few months, even years itself, we've been having issues of repatriation or return of our agricultural commodities. In fact, most countries, US has banned most of our commodities, about 3 of them, and even smaller countries have banned some of our agriculture. So these are commodities that should have been helping to shore up oil, so that when oil, because of oil theft, is bringing less, these agricultural commodities would have come up. But from the MBS statistics that were released recently, we saw that imports of agricultural commodities within this third quarter, was 512 billion imports agricultural commodities, while we exported 84.2 billion. So we imported 512 billion worth of agricultural commodity, we exported 84.2. So that's less than 10%. Raw materials, the same time, agricultural raw materials, we imported 649 billion worth of raw materials, and we exported just 186. So it means that agriculture is even taking from our forex instead of adding. Oil has been reducing. We know throughout, in fact, the third quarter has been worse. So we are not getting enough forex. That's what it means. And when you look at very, very, very heart-rending statistics that come out, this last fuel subsidy has thrown up so many things. You hear independent marketers, those who buy fuel, who import fuel, saying that they pay NPA in foreign currency. To dock your vessel, you pay in dollars. You pay NEMASA in dollars. Then there's one amount they call PFI system money. You pay $300,000.
So the demand for forex is so high.
It's enormous within the Nigerian economy. And in fact, there are so many that you need a daughter vessel to go and unload fuel from the mother vessel. That the daughter vessel used to be $30,000 for hiring, charter. And now it has increased by ×2. It's now $60,000. So in the first place, the first question to ask is, why can't the mother vessel come? They said because they need to dredge the river, the river, so the big vessels can't come. And so much money. So the whole summary is that we are not generating enough, and we are using it for unnecessary. A memo was sent from the presidency, I think even during Abakiari's time, the late chief of staff to the president before he died. A memo as long as 2018-19 was sent to NPA and other bodies that they should stop collecting with foreign currency. It should be Naira. Because really, when they are remitting back these monies back to the federation account, they don't remit it in dollars.
So why
you have
collect dollars in the first place
in the
when
first
you would
place.
remit naira?
Exactly, and these marketers who are paying you these dollars, they are not getting it at the CBN official, they are getting it on the parallel market at probably 700 naira to $1. So they are paying through their throats. Then when, if at all, they want to remit to the federal account, they remit at the official rate of 415. So this 700, so it shows that somebody probably is selling these dollars, making 700 naira from it, and remitting just 400 at the exchange rate. So this difference of 300 times $300,000, where does it go? So this is just a snippet of it.
The reasons that makes the forex to be unavailable. Now that we have a shortage of forex, as we've had for a couple of years, but experienced worse this year.
Yeah.
So the Standard Organization of Nigeria, that is to ensure that whatever comes into the country is of a high standard, even whatever is produced in the country is of good standard, has raised concern that this may lead to substandard goods being imported. What is then the way out? Is it to stop importation of some items that may be easy to reduce counterfeited ones?
Yeah, their fears are germane because you have the value of the naira now exchanging to dollar exchange to naira is now very high. So an importer who needs 700 naira to get $1 would want to cut costs because that's paying through his throat. So he will now tell probably whoever he's importing it from China or wherever, that just do something that we can use and bring in. So at a cheaper price. So you now have, we've heard that long ago, that you now have special products being made in China and so for the Nigerian market, different from what they will make for the American market, so that it's cheap because that's what he can afford. So he's able to buy it at $10. When the original would have been $30, so he's now spending less. So that fear is germane. But what can Son do? I don't know. We have almost become, this administration has almost become known with just lamentation. They just come to meet us and lament to us, and we are wondering, that's why we voted you put there. You are supposed to be there to take the hard decisions for us. So there have been reports that even you don't have Son officials at the custom, at these entry locations. At the airports, you don't have Son officials. At the customs, the same thing. There have been reports to that. We don't know how true that. Even if there have also been reports that they are easily compromised. So it's a system failure. If not, there's nothing wrong. If Americans have rejected our smoked fish, they've rejected our yams, rejected some of our culture, then why can't we reject all these substandard products that are being sent? So I think the whole solution is just increased management of Son. And discipline, higher sense of discipline to uphold the laws. Substandard products, if you have, there are testing devices to test. If it's substandard, tires, even paints, they said paints, as even engine oil, there's so many of these things, drugs. And these are life-threatening imported items that could be very life-threatening to us. So if they have been able to test, the first thing, do they even have, I heard reports of the fact that there are laboratories, they have very few laboratories, their laboratories are ill-equipped. So you need to even test all these things. You see the Americans, they tested our yams and they saw their toxin level is higher of about 60%. So first question, do we even have the equipment to test? And if we do, the political will to be able to stop goods that are substandard and repatriate them. We should be able to make a statement, repatriate these goods, and after which, then until that political will is there, I don't know, we might just keep lamenting over the problem over and over.
Okay, let's look at the quality of goods, for instance. You have something that is of high quality, and you have something that is substandard, but maybe not harmful. Can we say, given our economy, some goods may be allowed to be substandard, provided they are not harmful to the consumer? But they may not be durable.
It's substandard.
For business sake.
A substandard product most likely would be harmful, because even as low as electronics, most electronics that come in are substandard, and that's why you have fire outbreaks. Sometimes you just see a very new television or whatever electronics, you plug it to your wall, you see the fire melting. That can lead to fire outbreak. Even substandard paints, okay, that may not be helpful. So, but generally, anything that is substandard means that there is a certain level of universal acceptable standards that has been set. So anything that is wrong is wrong. So, That would be very difficult. I think if we are supposed to progress as a nation, we are supposed to be able to hold on to ethical standards. So I think it behoves on SON to take the right actions. Government is supposed to take actions on behalf of the people. So I don't know, without having to now become too controversial with our statement, but I think SON and the government should sit up and tighten up their belts.
Okay, having established that it should not be an issue of compromise,
Yeah.
the standards should be upheld.
Yeah.
So how then can marketers, business people who are importers of most of all these items be encouraged so that they keep to the standard? If you're importing, you must import a standard product.
Yeah. And that even, yeah, just to also collaborate the point, it's also a threat to local production too, because what happens is because they're able to get these goods cheap in, it's affecting Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and so on have been complaining of the fact that these substandard products, it's affecting their market because they are able to get it cheap from China and so on. When they convert it and bring it here, the original product, because we still have very good products that are made within the country. Cables, for example, Nigerian cable is seen as the best, probably in sub-Saharan Africa.
Then why do we import if we're producing here?
Exactly. So that's why they've been complaining.
Is it a matter of the quantity not meeting the demand?
Yeah, beyond that, yeah, that might be a factor. But beyond that also, importers just want to make quick profits, and until government also puts a foothold on that. But I think Nigerian cable generally is highly demanded. Most of the times when you take electricians to go and work in your house, they tell you, they insist that that's what they want. So I think there are other issues like paints and so on, electronics, which does not have the same level of production in the country. I think those are the ones that the Nigerian cables, I don't think there's really competition from the foreign market. Then even these plumbing items, Nigerian products are better. So I think it's also a case of those are coming to threaten the local production. But as you rightly said, if our local production is high enough, there will really be hardly any need for us to patronize the imported items. So it just means that our manufacturers should step up their game, but it's difficult. We are looking at an environment that is very, very harsh. See, MBS just recently released a report that banks are, operating costs of banks have increased by 19.2% just within these last 3 quarters. Banks, from 1.7 trillion last quarter to about 2.3 trillion this quarter. That's for banks. So it just tells you the telecommunications, everybody is struggling. Cost of diesel has increased. So manufacturers are struggling within. So it's difficult for them to cover costs. So whatever you're importing will seemingly always be cheaper than what is being produced here because it's easier there. They use public power there. They use very high level technology. So it will always be a threat. Whatever you import, it will hardly, with the domestic producers, be able to compete with whatever they import. So they import it and sell it at 10 naira. The Nigerian manufacturer can't dare it. They can't even sell at 50 naira. If not, they won't make profit. So I think the answer to that is that the government has to fix the economy, make production a little bit less cost effective, more cost effective, so that they can be able to compete with these foreign goods that are imported.